dress. She wears full body knickers and she's always in a mess. So if you see her dancing, don't think that she's a fraud. Alrighty, welcome back, watcher. Okay, tailpiece. Now, thank you for your amazing comments. I just want to explain first of all, the clay work, it has dried off a little bit now. It's cracked quite a lot. I've got to stabilize all that today, but before I get into that, I just want to explain. These videos are made usually 2 at a time. I usually have 2 days off in the middle of the week, and I'll make the 2 videos back to back, and then I'll edit and do the post-production throughout the week. So when you make fabulous comments, like so many of you did, about using expanding foam underneath the frame to hold it, that's brilliant. I absolutely love that, and I never thought of it. I simply didn't think of it. It was an awesome idea. As soon as I read it, I thought, oh God, yeah, absolutely, I could have done that. A couple of problems with it. It would have been a bit of a bugger to keep it all up there and not have it just fall out all over the wheel. But there's a way around that, just plastic bag around it or something. And of course, the other thing is getting it out once it's all set rock hard, because it's all the stuff that's up there. I don't want to have to rip all that out from there. But whatever, it would have been a great idea no matter what. So thanks for that. But by the time I read those comments, I'd already made the first of the clay videos. I'd already shot it and it was already in post-production. So that's the problem. These videos often get made in little blocks. They get shot in blocks and then I have to edit them as I go along. So sometimes the time you've made a comment is too late. So sorry about that, and it's my loss, because that would have been an awesome suggestion. I really appreciate that. So thank you to all of you who said that with the expanding foam idea. It is great. However, I went with the rags and the box. It's just what I had at the time. I reached for something and that's it. I'd done it. You know, when you're doing a project like this, you find yourself constantly going out and buying stuff. You're going out, you're buying the clay, you're buying the mesh, you're buying this and buying that. Now I've got to buy loads of fiberglass and some resin, and it's just never ending, which is why this thing's up over 3.5 grand so far. It just never stops. So, you know, I try and keep costs down as much as I can. I haven't got all the money in the world. I'm trying to make this build cost effective. So when this bike's finished, it doesn't cost as much as the MT10, you know, I want this bike to be cost effective too. So there we are. Thanks for the comments, but unfortunately I can't always implement them as much as I might want to, because sometimes it's a little bit too late. I've moved on and done it already. Anyway, got the clay on there. Today's little job is about stabilizing it so that I can then let it another couple of days to dry, and in the final one, hopefully with the clay, it will be the final sculpted shape, get all the symmetry absolutely right, and then get this tin foil and the mold release stuff on it so that I can actually start getting the fiberglass done the following week after that. Anyway, that's enough chat. Let's show you round it. Let's see what it looks like. Close up. Right, just trying to deal with some of the symmetry issues now. It's bizarre how out of skew it is. I'll give you an example. Look, so from the rear here, you can see that the spine on top of the tail lines up with the top of the tank and the middle of the bars. So that's all in line. But you can see straight away looking at that this corner here is heavier than this. This is straight, this has got more of a curve to it. So it's that kind of symmetry that's an issue. And it's every angle. It's got to be symmetrical there. It needs a little bit of weight in here to bring that out slightly. I already put about 1/2 inch in there. I don't want to put too much in. There was a little bit more on top in there. This was coming out and that side was right in. So now I'll hold you straight. I'll put quite a bit in there just to lift it and get that section symmetrical either side from every angle. And every angle you look at it, you can see it there. That comes out at the rear. That side doesn't come out as much, so I've got to build a little bit into that. See, that's the angle I wanted. That's the first angle I did. That's the first shape that I matched to this side of the tank. So it all matches in. And that one just is in too far. I can't bring the wire out any further. It's just where it is. So I'll bring it out with clay. So that's the mission. That is the mission. Getting every single angle that it's possible to view it from central and symmetrical, and it's a little bit more time consuming than I thought. Let's get on with it. That's it. Right. It's getting close now, it really is. That's more or less basically symmetrical. There are just little bulges here or there which I need to just bring out to match the other side, or if it's soft, dop it in a bit just to level it up. It's absolutely got to be symmetrical. It's a bona fide sculpture. I'm literally sculpting clay, and I've never done it since I did O-level pottery at school a million years ago. So it's kind of time consuming. It's taken 4 hours now. 4 hours at this to get to this point, and I'm happy with it. There's nearly an inch thick wad in this side where the frame was skew with, and I couldn't straighten it because this side's straight, so I've just built it back up with clay, and that's quite a large lump. So I want to smooth it all off now. I can't really see the subtle differences as it gets closer to being right, with it all being jagged like this. They don't show enough. So once it's all smoothed off, then I'll be able to see it. So I'm going to wet it down, let it smooth it all off, and then see how it looks from there. Let's get the sprayer. Right, I've made a slip, a clay slip, just by watering down a fistful of clay, massaging it all into like a paste. I'm just going to paint this over to give it a nice smooth all over layer. Then that can set off, harden off, and give me a nice base to get that final shape. This, like I said, the symmetry's there, almost there, but not quite. It needs a little bit more yet. And I can't see it while it's all knobbly like it was. So this is a great way to better spot any low spots and deal with them. Just make it nice and smooth. This will take, I reckon, about 2 days to dry, so by the weekend I'll be able to come back to this, finalise the symmetry and get the tin foil on it, start looking to mould it. Right, that's as far as it can go today. It's a little bit, it's about 90% symmetrical now. I've got the width correct, I've got the angle correct under here. The spine along the top is dead straight with the tank. It's going to be a little higher, obviously, because this represents the inside face of the tail. It will be a bit bigger than this in that sense. It is a little bit odd this side. This side's a bit further back than that side, so I've got to bring this elevation forward and straighten it up. This is the sort of thing that when you're making it from scratch, there's so many different angles, but from everything except that, it looks straight. It's straight that way, the spine is straight, the wasted section in the middle is symmetrical, and the flare away is straight. These kind of flanks, they're roughly the same sort of roundness. There's a lot to do, there really is. There's nothing to mount it on, it's still just a flexi panel. It's going to have some mounts underneath it, perhaps fiberglass in, some metal brackets that will bolt onto the tail underneath. I'll come to that later. You can actually use wood, pieces of timber, fiberglass in underneath, and they'll really give it strength, and they won't bring too much, if any, weight. So it all works quite well. There's a lot to do, there really is. The under tray obviously as well. After that, I want to use that Frenched rear light, the one I made before. So in order to utilise that, I may use a steel under tray, which will maybe help to strengthen and support this. Don't know, there's lots of things to come, but for the moment, I'm just tied up with getting all this symmetrical. It's been nearly 5 hours, 4.5 hours today to do this, and I'm going to call it done so I can let it set, let it dry off, come back to it. And what I may do, I've got about 1.5 pounds of clay left. What I may do is roll it out thin and just put a layer over the whole thing, one thin layer, and just shave it rather than adding, I don't know, maybe that's a better way to do it. I'm going to watch a few more videos, learn a bit more about it. So there we are. Thank you for watching. Join us at the weekend for a bit more of this. Thank you for all of your amazing support. Ride safe. See you next time.
My awards goer, she wears a goer's dress. She wears good money knickers and she's always in her best. So if you see her dancing, don't think that she's a fraud. She ain't that bad, just plain on board. My awards goer, she wears a goer's dress. She wears good money knickers and she's always in her best. So if you see her dancing, don't think that she's a fraud. She ain't